I had always been a fan of road trips, but this one was different. I was traveling alone, down a winding, desolate road in the dead of night. The full moon above was my only company, casting long shadows that danced and flickered with every passing tree. The hum of the engine and the crunch of gravel under tires were the only sounds breaking the oppressive silence. A sense of unease settled over me as I drove further into the darkness. The trees loomed ominously on either side of the narrow path, their branches scraping against the car, creating an eerie symphony of creaks and whispers. The darkness was so profound that even the car's headlights seemed to be swallowed whole, leaving me in a world of shadows and half-imagined figures. The wind hissed through the leaves, adding to the orchestra of the night, a soundtrack to my growing unease. The woods seemed to close in around me, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers as if trying to pull me into their depths. The rustling leaves whispered tales of forgotten travelers lost in the labyrinth of the whispering woods, their stories ending in hushed, chilling silence. The further I drove, the denser the woods became. The whispers growing louder, the darkness more impenetrable. I could almost hear the trees whispering secrets in the wind, secrets that I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Just when I started to relax, I noticed a figure up ahead, a hitchhiker. Bathed in the harsh glow of my headlights, she stood at the edge of the road, her silhouette as eerie as the night itself. A shroud of mystery. She was an enigma wrapped in a cloak of darkness. Her presence there in the middle of nowhere sent a chill down my spine, but I couldn't leave her stranded. As the distance closed between us, I could see her more clearly. A cloak draped over her shoulders, obscuring her face. Was she in need, or was she the danger I was unknowingly inviting in? The uncertainty was palpable, the tension thick. Yet, I decided to stop, driven by a sense of humanity, or was it curiosity? I pulled over to give her a lift, unaware of the horror that awaited me. The hitchhiker was a woman, her face concealed by a hood. She opened the passenger door, and a waft of cold air rushed in. The chill wasn't from the night air, it was something else, something eerie, like an icy hand reaching out from the shadows. Her presence filled the car with an unsettling silence. It wasn't the comforting quiet you'd expect from a late-night drive. It was a silence that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. She sat there, motionless, her head turned towards the window. The car's interior light barely touched her, yet I could see the faint outline of her face, hidden beneath the cloak. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was as cold as the air that surrounded her. It echoed in the confined space of the car, a low, raspy whisper that was barely above a breath. "Drive," she commanded. She laughed softly, a sound that sent chills down my spine. Lost in the chilling revelation of her words, I barely noticed the figure that appeared in the rearview mirror. A ghostly figure, translucent and ethereal, seated in the back seat. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, but it stayed. A spectral presence in the empty space. Its eyes, hollow and sorrowful, met mine in the mirror. A cold shiver ran down my spine as I realized who it was. A traveler gone missing, one of the many who'd vanished on this very road. Its mouth moved, forming silent words that seemed to echo in my mind. "Beware the woman! Beware the mansion!" A warning, a plea. Before I could comprehend, the figure vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind a chilling echo of its warning. The woman beside me gave no reaction, her gaze still fixed outside the window, her icy presence a stark contrast to the departed apparition. She seemed to sense my unease and chuckled softly. "Don't worry, I'm not like the others who disappeared." Her voice was calm, almost soothing, but the words sent chills down my spine. Was she referring to the local legends of travelers gone missing on this very road? Or was it something far more sinister? I stole a glance at her, her hood now slightly retracted, revealing piercing gray eyes that seemed to hold a world of secrets. A sense of dread washed over me. I'd picked up more than just a hitchhiker, I had picked up a story, a chilling tale that was about to unfold. As the car engine hummed and the darkness outside pressed against the windows, her words hung in the air, a foreboding prophecy. I was trapped in this eerie narrative, a pawn in a game of shadows and fear. Her words echoed in my mind as I drove on, the mansion looming in the distance. As I ventured further into the mansion, I stumbled upon a room that was colder than the rest. The icy chill was not just physical, it was a bone-deep dread that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. The room was shrouded in darkness, and despite the moonlight that filtered through the broken window, shadows clung to the corners, refusing to retreat. The air was heavy, saturated with an unseen presence that seemed to be watching me, following my every move. I could hear whispers, faint yet unmistakable, like the rustling of old papers. They were unintelligible but filled with an urgency that was unnerving. As I moved further into the room, the whispers grew louder, a cacophony of ghostly voices echoing off the walls. The feeling of being watched intensified, a spectral gaze that was almost palpable. Overwhelmed by the haunting atmosphere, I retreated, the whispers trailing off as I left the room. But the feeling of dread followed me, a spectral shadow that clung to me as I ventured deeper into the mansion's heart. Opening. As we approached the mansion, the night grew colder and the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The Burnside Mansion stood before us, a decrepit monument of forgotten times, its silhouette etched against the moonlit sky. A chill ran down my spine as I stepped out of the car, the gravel crunching under my boots. The woman had disappeared, leaving me alone with the towering, eerie structure. The mansion was a labyrinth of darkness and decay. It was as if time itself had stopped within these walls, preserving a sinister tableau of the past. I moved through the rooms, each one more unsettling than the last, filled with remnants of a life once lived, and yet disturbingly abandoned. In the heart of the mansion, I stumbled upon a hidden chamber. The air in the room was heavy with an unknown dread, and the scent of age-old secrets hung in the air. The walls were adorned with eerie symbols, and old, unsettling artifacts lay scattered across the room. Each item seemed to hold a piece of the mansion's dark past, whispering tales of dark rituals and unspeakable horrors. As I delved deeper into the mansion's history, I uncovered the truth. The Burnside Mansion was not just an old abandoned building, it was a cursed place. The woman, the hitchhiker, was part of this curse. She had been haunting the mansion for centuries, trapped in time, bound to the place by a powerful spell. And then, as I turned to leave, I saw her, the woman from the car, her face no longer hidden. She stood at the threshold of the chamber, her gray eyes piercing through the gloom. A sinister smile spread across her face as she raised her head, revealing rows of sharp, ghostly teeth. The chilling revelation hit me like a bolt of lightning. She wasn't just a mere hitchhiker, she was the mansion's dark secret. A spectral figure forever bound to the Burnside Mansion, waiting for the next unsuspecting traveler to share her curse. Closing. And then, as I turned to leave, I saw her. The woman from the car, her face no longer hidden. She smiled, revealing rows of sharp, ghostly teeth. Scrambling to escape, the mansion seemed to awaken. The once silent, decaying halls were now alive with an eerie energy, the walls seeming to close in around me. The once clear corridors twisted and turned, trapping me in a labyrinth of fear, and then it began. The phantom chase. Out of the corner of my eye, ghostly figures appeared and disappeared, darting in and out of the shadows, their spectral forms flickering like candles in the wind. Every creak of the wooden floorboards, every gust of wind through the broken windows, every shadow dancing on the wall was another specter, another echo of the mansion's cursed past. My heart pounded in my chest as I ran, the chilling laughter of the woman echoing in my ears, a haunting soundtrack to my desperate escape. The mansion was no longer just a building. It was a living, breathing entity, its every corner filled with the spectral remnants of its dark history. The chase seemed endless, the mansion's labyrinthine halls stretching out before me like a nightmare. But finally, after what felt like an eternity, I made it out. The cold night air hit me like a wave, the moonlight illuminating the path ahead. I ran, leaving the mansion and its ghostly inhabitants behind. But even as I escaped, I could still hear the echoes of the phantom chase, a haunting melody that would forever be etched in my memory. As I raced out of the mansion, my heart pounding, I realized the truth. She wasn't there to guide me, she was there to transfer her curse to someone else. I could still feel her cold, spectral presence clinging to me, an icy shroud that wouldn't let go. The chilling laughter that echoed in the empty halls seemed to follow me, a haunting reminder of the ghostly encounter, and as I drove away, I knew that some urban legends weren't legends at all.